Hello everyone, I'm Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, a $39 million agreement signed Friday to advance Dominica's geothermal development project. High caliber performance is expected at this weekend's 10th edition of Jazz and Creole. And the OECS drops to number 50 out of 180 countries surveyed in the 2019 World Press Freedom Index. The details coming up.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. Major works for the further development of Dominica's geothermal project expected to get underway soon. Andrea Louis reports.
This as the agreement between the government of Dominica and the World Bank for financing the geothermal development project was signed on Friday. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says the signing of this $39.2 million agreement will pave the way for several necessary steps of the geothermal project.
I am advised that in the next few weeks, we will be engaged in a number of activities, including the selection of the contractors and working towards the accomplishment of the conditions for effectiveness of the loan. In the process, we will complete the land acquisition and finalize the power purchase agreement with DOMLEC and completing the concession agreement as well. This government has not allowed the impact of Hurricane Maria to distract us from developing this country. Hurricane Maria has delayed us in the implementation of our plans, but it has also reinforced our resolve to build this country better.
Mr. Skerrit says the advancements of Dominica's geothermal energy sector will help in protecting the environment and building the country's climate resilience.
We expect, therefore, that the use of clean, green energy and the reduction in the use of fossil fuels will enhance and protect the environment. We take very seriously the commitments given to reducing the carbon footprint, and while at this, we are not net polluters of the environment. We will continue to take action to ensure environmental preservation. Moreover, our investments in other sectors will therefore greatly benefit from the geothermal energy. All our investments in new hotel infrastructure, the new schools being built, the new smart health centers, the new national hospital, the new housing complexes, all of these will benefit from the availability of clean and green energy.
Regional Director for the Caribbean at the World Bank, Tassin Saeed Khan, says this agreement is a notable landmark for the World Bank Group.
This is the first World Bank Group funded geothermal project in the Caribbean since 30 years. So this is a very important milestone event for pursuing the agenda of renewables and the demonstrable commitment of Dominica to its stated goal of becoming climate resilient. And we are really hopeful that this investment has the potential to, because this is for domestic purposes, which is absolutely essential, the 7 megawatts that it would generate, but it has the potential over time for you to further expand geothermal outputs that can be potentially be used as an economic diversification tool for export, purposes.
Dominica started drilling for geothermal energy in 2011 and hopes to begin work on a 7-megawatt geothermal power plant before the end of this year.
The 2019 graduating class of the Dominica Community High School has been advised to stay focused to achieve success in life. Here again is Andrea Louis.
Featured speaker at Friday's graduation ceremony, Dr. Ian James, is a former student of the Dominica Community High School and currently the Deputy and Chief of Staff to the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs at the City University of New York, which is the largest public university in America. James told the graduating class that he encountered many challenges obtaining a secondary school education, but remained committed to the task at hand. He assured the graduates that they can achieve success if they remain focused in life.
Today, I stand before you as a proud holder of 5 advanced academic degrees. None of this would have been possible without the unwavering faith of my grandmother and Mrs. Nicholas, who took a chance on me. My fellow students, I was focused, I achieved, and ultimately I succeeded. And you too can be focused, achieve, and succeed.
Dr. James also established a scholarship at the school in memory of his late grandmother, Maria John Baptist. The first ever Maria John Baptist scholarship was awarded to Clemox Fontaine. James advised the students to maintain the DCHS mindset as they go out to make their contribution to society.
I have come to learn that DCHS students possess a unique characteristic and quality that I would simply call the DCHS state of mind. The DCHS state of mind is a student who is self-reliant, self-disciplined, and has a deep inner strength and a tenacious spirit towards the goal, no matter what the adversity or challenge.
Meantime, Minister for Education Peter Seja advised graduates to make a positive impact on society despite all odds.
Young people, as you go forth, let me close by cautioning you that our society is plagued with ills, but do not focus on the negative. The small contribution that you can make it with all diligence. And the Dominica Community High School, your family, and the wider community will be proud that you have made or will have made your mark on the Dominican and Caribbean landscape.
The DCHS graduation ceremony was held under the theme Focus, Achieve, and Succeed. Janaya Kopel received the awards for Top Student and Student of the Year. He also copped the majority of the subject awards and a few general prizes. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
The full lineup of acts for the 10th edition of Jazz and Creole has been announced. Acting Festival and Event Manager at the Dominica Festivals Committee, Olson Matthews, says Dominicans and visitors can expect a high-caliber performance from each artist.
We have mentioned over and over the notability of the lineup that is being presented at Jazz and Creole 2019. And last week, I challenged those of you who were not familiar with the artists to look them up and understand the caliber of artists who will grace the stage on the 5th. As you already know, we have the Smith brothers, Mel, Johan Chokeri, Tony Chasseur, and Boo Hinkson. And they will be joined on stage by the Paybush drummers, CHSU Moja, who gained some popularity over the whole recent family movement, as well as Mary Pascal and Amanda Lawrence, who will do a flute performance playing contemporary songs on classical instruments, something along the lines of what you saw last year with the Sisters with the Violins. So we look forward to that.
Jazz and Creole is scheduled for Sunday, 5th May at Fort Shirley in Portsmouth. The festival runs from 2 to 9 p.m. In other news now, Prime Minister Skerrit has appealed to Dominicans to recognize that certain important issues should not be politicized. Speaking in Parliament this week, Mr. Skerrit pointed to the OECD's blacklisting of Dominica as one such issue which should not be viewed through partisan lens. The Prime Minister addressed the issue in Parliament this week, where legislation was passed on offshore banking and common reporting standards in tax matters. The OECD placed Dominica on a negative list, even while government awaited correspondence from the organization having met the requirements.
Yes, there are things that we have to fight between and among ourselves with a partisanship clothing. But there are some things in this region, and there are some things in our country that we have to recognize that it transcends party politics. It transcends party politics. Because when our country gets into this negative list, it is not Roosevelt's Carrington or the Dominica Labour Party. It is Dominica. And these things have the potential of impacting the way we conduct business within our country and between countries and with countries. It will affect how we deal with issues of banking. It will affect how we deal with issues of money transfers. It will affect our ability to pay those whom we owe, both in the public service and private sector people. It will affect our credit card, access to credit cards and debit cards. So people have to understand these things and recognize that this is not about UWP or Dominica Labour Party. This is about our country. And our country is facing, like all of the countries, developing countries in the world, are facing some monumental tax.
The Prime Minister pointed out that such legislative demands by the OECD on smaller developing countries often fail when attempted against larger economic powers such as the United States.
We have sprats, or what we call kai, in a deep blue ocean, Madam Speaker, surrounded by sharks and whales. But the United States told them, and rightly so, even when they tried to impose these very same things on the United States, they told them, you have no jurisdiction over the United States. We won't agree with that. And we're not passing any legislation. And if you pass any legislation to impose anything on the United States, we'll go to our Congress and pass legislation to impose things on you. But we don't have that power. We don't have power. So all we do in this country, Madam Speaker, is watch and pray, Watch and pray to our Lord to protect us and guide us through this very difficult world. Because we don't have the civil authorities to deal with the issue, so we have to go beyond the civil authorities and to seek the spiritual intervention. And I must say, Madam Speaker, notwithstanding how difficult the world is, and how difficult some people are making the world for us as small countries, the Lord has been good to us, Madam Speaker.
Mr. Skerritt believes the international community must give greater consideration to the plight of the smaller developing countries.
And I think too that the international community has to be a little bit more understanding of the challenges which small countries like us face. And at the same time, Madam Speaker, we spend an enormous amount of money as a region, as a country, protecting those countries from drugs coming from South America. Because the fact is, Madam Speaker, 99% of the drugs which come through our countries go up to Europe and North America. And we spend a lot of money because we recognize that we don't only have an obligation to our children in Dominica, we have an obligation to children anywhere in the world. And to ensure that we can interdict those drugs coming from the region so that they do not go and affect and destroy families in North America and Europe. Who pays us for that? What we get in return, a blacklisting, negative listing, that's not nice. That's not how good friends behave. That's not how neighbors behave. Neighbors have to be empathetic.
And National Security Minister Reuben Blackmore appealed to the police this week to give the best service to the public possible. The National Security Minister made the appeal as Parliament amended the Police Act Chapter 1401 this week. Mr. Blackmore said the newly amended legislation signified government's commitment to improving the lot of police officers and their families, but he says officers also have an obligation.
By law, police officers are entitled to free medical. I say that because there's a threshold on the coverage. And let us suppose the threshold is $300,000, and the medical procedure for the police is $2 million, $1 million, as we have seen in recent past. There are instances where, for example, you have some real troublesome or intricate medical procedures, operations. The bill is close to $2 million. Where the way surpasses what the coverage provided by the insurance, and the state has to meet the cost. At no time, Madam Speaker, when a police officer has to be flown overseas, and the permission of the Prime Minister is being sought, that he has said no. And that demonstrates, as I've said before, that this is a government for the police, Madam Speaker.
Deputy Prime Minister Reginald Austrie supports adequate health insurance for police officers and warns against citizen action which places officers in harm's way unnecessarily.
Madam Speaker, there are instances when we call for action, we put no measures in place to control those actions, Madam Speaker, and so the policemen have to be called out, Madam Speaker, on duty to ensure that peace and security is prevailing in this country, Madam Speaker. And to my mind, on many instances, it's totally unnecessary, Madam Speaker, and uncalled for. But more importantly, Madam Speaker, we have to encourage the public to have respect for the police and to appreciate the work of the police. We have to be careful that we do not incite situations that can bring our police officers under unnecessary pressure and under unnecessary dangers, Madam Speaker. And our call should always be that the police, Madam Speaker, because their role is not just to protect life and property, but their presence, Madam Speaker, is also a deterrent to crime. And we have to give our police officers the comfort that the entire country respects and appreciates the work that they do, Madam Speaker.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after the break.
Partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nick pour yo ouais si la ni pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV P ni TB aussi. Savent qui la ni guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité. Aidez du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout moun pour examiner corps yo.
Thank you for staying with us. Every year, the 3rd of May is a date set aside to celebrate the fundamental principles of press freedom. It's also a day set aside to evaluate press freedom around the world, to defend the media from attacks on their independence, and to pay tribute to journalists who have lost their lives in the exercise of their profession. The countries of the OECS dropped to number 50 out of 180 countries surveyed in the 2019 World Press Freedom Index compiled by Reporters Without Borders. According to Reporters Without Borders, the OECS has fallen 15 places from its ranking of 35 in 2018. The RSF Index evaluates the state of journalism in 180 countries and territories each year. The OECS ranked 38 in 2017, 35 in 2018 and 50 in 2019. In its 2019 index, Reporters Without Borders said editorial censorship rocks the OECS region. It noted that journalism is not a prestige profession in the countries that are members of the OECS. The 2019 report said they receive little training and often abandon media work because it is so badly paid, an issue that particularly affects female journalists in the region. It goes on, many media outlets are under the direct influence of politicians, especially during elections, because officials can withdraw state advertising anytime and deprive them of income they depend on. It noted that in some of the islands, political parties even own or have major shares in media companies, compromising journalistic independence. The number of countries regarded as safe where journalists can work in complete security continues to decline, while authoritarian regimes continue to tighten their grip on the media. World Press Freedom Day was proclaimed by the UN General Assembly in 1993. The third of 5 community tourism competitions is set to get underway on Monday. The Dominica Community Tourism Association embarked on a series of community tourism competitions in the north and northeast of the country last month. So far, Marigot and Castle Bruce have held their events. The next zone comprise Capuchin, Tatan and Tukari. The event will be held at the Kana Heritage Park in Capuchin and take on the format of an afternoon of fun and frolic with a cultural twist. Juanita Carbon, who is the secretary of the Capuchin Tourism Group, hopes the event will keep tourism and culture alive in the communities.
There will be performances from cultural groups and the school children from the area. Agricultural produce from the communities will also be on display, as well as sale of food and drinks from the area. We will also have a mini domino competition among groups from our villages and neighboring communities in the north. We have received support from some business communities and corporate firms. The DCTAI and the Ministry of Tourism have provided much needed support.
Carbon says the communities have taken a hands-on approach towards ensuring the success of Monday's event.
The community is very happy that such an event will be held at Kana. Villages are the ones who will be providing the entertainment, food and items for display on that day. We hope that the publicity brought on by this activity will boost the tourism product in Capuchin and especially Kana Heritage Park.
Prime Minister Skerrit has expressed concern that Dominicans are sometimes not as grateful as they should be and fail to appreciate the difficulties which come with governing in this modern era. The Prime Minister spoke in the context of challenges posed by the international community, which he says government must spend time addressing while simultaneously attending to the needs of the population still recovering from the impact of natural disasters such as Hurricane Maria.
When you spend $100 million to help them fix the homes, as if, well, there's an entitlement, the government hold an insurance for you. The government is only doing this because within the government, within the party, we understand people. We have a certain benevolence, we have a certain care and compassion for people's struggles. And had it not been for the government's intervention, the majority of Dominicans would not be able to cover their homes because people lost everything they own. Everything they own. And we are dealing with all of these hurricane-related issues and recovery, Madam Speaker, and at the same time have to be dealing with the international community on these issues, which occupy your time. Which occupy a lot of your time. As a matter of fact, Madam Speaker, I have said to the Cabinet that we may have to bring in a special team of people to be resident in the Ministry of Finance or the Attorney General's office to deal exclusively with these things. We need lawyers and financial advisors to be just to be resident to deal with all those requirements because it is very tedious work and very demanding.
Mr. Skerrit says while there will always be challenges, Dominicans should not lose sight of the progress made so far.
Likewise, people criticize the health system. Yes, everywhere you go, you will have a challenge with the health system. Everywhere you go, you stay in America or Guadeloupe or France, you may have to stay 3 hours before you see a doctor because the doctor is seeing other people. Look at the improvement that have been made to the health system. Before 2005, we did not have an ICU in Dominica. And men talking as if, well, we had this big hospital in Dominica called the PMH, and Skerrit come and he mash it up, and there's no more hospital in Dominica. A hospital was built in 1944 after the Second or the Third World War, whichever it is. Today, we can boast of 99% of the specialists who are providing healthcare to us are Dominicans trained by us. Trained by us. And medication which you will not be able to be given free in even developed countries, we give it to you free in the health system in Dominica.
And it's not often that a government or that the government and opposition agree on anything in Parliament these days, but there was an exception on Monday. Members on both sides of the House of Assembly had congratulatory messages for the Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, who got married last weekend. The Honourable Justina Charles's marriage to Deputy Fire Chief Farley-Rivere came 15 years after her former husband, the late Honourable Prime Minister Pierre Charles, passed in 2004.
I would like, on behalf of my constituents, to congratulate Honourable Justina Charles, now Mrs. Rivere, on her matrimonial stance she has taken. She got married yesterday and it was a pleasure. I'm doing this for my constituents because she has been a strength, support, has been in my constituency, especially with the young people. And she's a very dear friend to me, a sister. I just want to wish her all the best. I did my own congratulations. So this is for my constituents. And I wish her long life and a happy, happy married life. May God bless this union.
On behalf of the members of Parliament on the opposition side, we would like to extend very best wishes to Mr. and Mrs. Rivere. Mrs. Charles has been a parliamentary colleague in here for the past 10 years. And we would like to wish her the very best as she took that step in life. We just want to wish she and her husband the best of happiness and God's blessing on her union. Once again, congratulations, Mrs. Rivere.
Mr. Charles, I consider to be an exceptional human being and someone who has tried to protect me so far in the Parliament. And of having a husband as a Prime Minister and knowing of the profound demands and challenges that this position exposes one to. And she's always tried from her own experience to shield me from a number of things, and I really appreciate it. But I really want to commend and congratulate Mr. and Mrs. Rivere. I know Mr. Rivere very well, a well-spoken gentleman, very always smartly dressed. You know, you could literally shave with the seam of his pants. You know, that's how smartly he dresses, and very well-spoken, very intelligent gentleman. And I have no doubt that they will have a wonderful time together. And I'm hoping that this will serve as motivation for those who have yet to go down that road. So, you know, I look forward to congratulating many in this house in the months to come.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you go out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. The signing of a $39 million agreement Friday paves the way for the advancement of Dominica's geothermal development project. The festival's committee promises high-caliber performances at this weekend's 10th edition of Jazz and Creole. And the OECS drops to number 50 out of 180 countries surveyed in the 2019 World Press Freedom Index. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching and do have a good weekend.